We are so proud to have him join us here today. Let me welcome Roy Spence up to the stage.
Well, thank you, Scott, for that great introduction, although well-deserved. I'm just saying. Also, just a quick shout-out. There's a guy, big, tall guy with a pink shirt on today whose birthday it is. Mike, will you stand up? Whatever. That's enough. Sit down. But anyway, thank you, Scott, and all the folks here. It's great to be with you. Lorraine and all the people who, Mary and everyone who organizes this, from the Texas Builders Group in Austin. Will y'all give them a hand too? You do a great job. So, J.W. Smith Builders in Austin, Texas. Bill Milburn Home Builders in Austin, Texas. Nash Phillip Copus, Austin, Texas. John Schaefer Homes, San Antonio, Texas. Ray Ellison Homes, San Antonio, Texas. Weekly Homes, back then, Houston, Texas. U.S. Homes, Houston, Texas. Fox and Jacobs, Dallas, Texas. And my favorite, the Herman Bennett Home Company in my hometown of Brownwood. What are all these amazing home builders who built thousands of homes in the 77 Common? Like he said, they took a chance on 4 renegade maverick kids out of UT to do their advertising. And in the process of them building homes for Texans all over Texas, they built our home, our business home. Nobody else was stupid enough to hire us. My partners, Steve Gersich, Tim McClure, Judy Trabulsi is here. We started this renegade bunch at University of Texas, and every Monday morning, nobody else would hire us except home builders. We would sit by the phone. That's before text and all that shit. We'd sit by the phone and see how many people, customers, showed up at the subdivision that we advertised. And if we met our goal along with closing sales, we got paid. And if we didn't, well, you know, you home builders. I'm just saying. And the greatest lesson you taught us 47 years ago, we found out we were never in the advertising business. We're in the business to build your business. And if we built your business, you built ours. So thank you, by the way, for that. I bring you warm greetings or scorching hot greetings from Austin, Texas. We can put up that first slide, Blake. Okay, me and Matthew. Where Matthew and I, as y'all know, have become friends, and we inducted 2 years ago Willie Nelson and Stevie Ray Vaughan into the Austin City Limits Hall of Fame. And he also helped me launch the Promiseland Project. But welcome, Austin, Texas, home of South by Southwest, home of Formula One. Anybody go to Formula One? Why? Anyway, so boring. Anyway. Oh yeah, rich people go there, that's right. So home of Austin City Limits and our home too. So I just wanted to bring you greetings from there. We can put that down now or nobody will look at me. Every time I give a little talk, you can put it down now, Blake. Oh, thank you. This is me, hi. I like to play a new TV spot that we just did. And I play them differently because they have different meanings, but I'm going to play this one and I'm going to tell you why. Hi, Megan. I'm going to tell you why I'm playing it. So, Blake, if we could run this one spot.
Like the pine trees lining the winding road, I got a name, I've got a name. Like the singing bird and the croaking toad, I got a name, I've got a name. And I carry it with me like my daddy did, but I'm living the dream that he kept here. Moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving no hair so life won't pass me by.
Those who live up to their names make one for themselves.
I just kind of want to make my own name, you know.
Goodyear, more driven.
So the reason I'm playing this spot, Jim Croce's son sang the song. A.J. Croce, his son, never would sing I Have a Name because he didn't think he could live up to his dad's reputation. So we found A.J. Croce. He sang this song, and when Dale saw this spot, he broke out in tears. So, and by the way, we do awesome work. So, God, isn't that great, though? A.J. Croce sang that song for the very first time. We're going to have a short conversation about the power of purpose in your life and in your business and the purpose of America. And I got to fess up, I didn't know anything about purpose. I got on the road early in my life, got lucky. But I found the more purpose you have in your life or your business, and the more, by the way, did y'all listen to the words of the Pledge of Allegiance just now? One nation, under God, indivisible. We need to say this pledge more often, don't we? And that's all I got to say. No, anyway, I found that more purpose you have in your life, the more purpose moments. This time a year ago, on Labor Day, my wife and I of 41 years, we've been married. I know, I look fabulous. But anyway, we were driving back from Yellowstone we celebrated our 41st anniversary there, and we were trying to get back to Austin Labor Day weekend, and we couldn't because the news talked about Harvey. That was a year ago. So we drove 19 hours straight together, and we're still married. And I get Labor Day morning, I get a call. Roy, this is Bill Clinton. The 5 former presidents want to do a PSA to help the folks in Harvey, your home state. And we only trust you. Can you help us? I'm good, aren't I? And I went, oh, sure, Mr. President. You know, we worked with Katrina and all that. He said, there's a couple of situations, though. You have to film it tomorrow morning. And none of us are in the same place. We're in planes in Dallas and New York and all this place. So, Mr. President, you're telling me we have to have a camera crew tomorrow morning filming all 5 presidents to do a 30-second spot tomorrow. That's right. And also, we need to do it in the morning because we take naps in the afternoon. Can you help us? Sure. There's one other thing. It has to be on the air 2 nights from now because the NFL and the NFL and NBC is donating a spot for the victims of Harvey. So I said, sure. I put the phone down, cried. Seriously, started crying. Called my daughter in San Francisco. This is what we do as Americans. In 2.5 hours, we had 5 camera crews lined up to go film. We wrote the spot. I got on the phone with all 5 former presidents that night and said, I know y'all are real big deals and you're very opinion rich. We have 30 seconds. President Carter, if President Bush has 2 more seconds than you, get over it. Okay. So at 4 in the morning, the next morning, we had all the scripts, the crews all over Plains, Maine, and I looked at television and Irma was hitting Miami. So I started crying, and knew I had to change the spots. Changed all the spots. Judy was there coordinating everything. The next day we filmed 5 former presidents, and it aired the next night. You want to see it? Let's play it.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at our best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you. I don't know where my Brownwood buddy is, but my best friend from my hometown, Bill Blagg, was working in the churches down in Houston as a Red Cross volunteer, and every time this spot came on, everyone would look at each other and say, if they can put aside their differences, we can too. So I got on the road to purpose. I grew up in Brownwood, Texas. Brownwood? Love y'all. And my mom was a teacher, God bless her, and my dad was a salesman, and I love that town. And I don't tell this story very often, but I'm going to share it with you. My oldest sister, Susan Spence, was born 4 years older than me in the late 40s, and she was born with a horrible birth defect called spinal bifida. Spinal bifida is a birth defect that's now curable if they discover it in the womb, but back then it wasn't. It's a birth defect where all the nerves that are supposed to go into your legs, they ball up on your back in an open wound. And average age expectancy was maximum 4 years, mainly 4 days, 4 weeks. And my sister lived to be 49 years old because of my mom. And every day us kids would push her stomach and take her to the bathroom. We didn't know that was anything. We rubbed her legs every night so she didn't have bed sores. And if we could put the picture up real quick. She graduated from high school, and she graduated from a community college right outside of Austin. And every Saturday I would go to campus, Judy knows, and push her around campus. And then on Sundays, don't get mad, I'd push her, would listen to the Dallas Cowboys and eat Whataburgers. And I was in her bed when she passed away, and I had this stunning epiphany that all these years I thought I'd been pushing her, she'd been pushing me. That's what purpose is about. You're pushed, as Gandhi said, you find yourself getting lost in the service of others. And by the way, when we're at our best at home builders, that's what we do. We find ourselves every day in the service of building homes for others. We can put that slide down, thank you. And on the road to purpose, I went to the University of Texas, whatever. And I met that girl, Judy Trabulsi. She had been raised Catholic. I didn't know what one was. And she went to Loyola, and we met each other on campus along with my 2 partners, and she looked up about 2 weeks, and Judy said, "Roy, I've always wanted to know, are you a non-Catholic?" I said, "No, hell, I'm a Methodist." And we started our business, and we had a multimedia company, and we'd put on these amazing shows on campus, and thousands of kids would line up to see it. And they'd pay us 50 cents or a brownie. This is America. We can talk about this now. And we looked at each other, as Judy was saying, I think we graduated. I don't know. I did. I don't know. And we said, what are we going to do? And one of my partners said, well, why don't we go into advertising? And I said, good. What is that? So I had a brand new tie-dye t-shirt. My ponytail was looking like awesome. I went down to City National Bank when it was still City. I sat in the loan officer's chair across from the desk. He wasn't there. And somebody hits me on the shoulder and said, "I'm sorry, young man, do you have an appointment?" It was the loan officer. I said, "No, sir, but it didn't look like you're very busy." Have you ever seen a banker? Anyway, so he said, "What do you need?" And I said, "Well, we need $5,000 to start our company." And he said, "What's your business plan?" And I said, I beg your pardon? I had a tie-dye t-shirt and a ponytail. He said, "What's your business plan?" I said, "Well, we want to stay together. We want to stay in Austin. We want to make a difference and get really rich." And he loaned me the money. And we paid it back a couple of weeks ago. Because, these things take time. And I tell the story because on the road to purpose, and some of you heard it, but Judy and I were at a reception about 25 years ago at the Headliners Club. I finally made him not wear ties for guys. But anyway, I was there. Guy walks up to me. His name is Sam Perry, and he said, "You know this man over here with the cane talking to everybody?" And I went, "Yeah, his name is Robert Sneed, and he was our mentor. He's a lawyer in town." And he said, "You remember that note that you borrowed, that $5,000 note you borrowed from City National Bank 29 years ago?" And I said, "Like it was yesterday." And he said, "You know that this man co-signed that note and never told you? Because he wanted y'all to believe that you got it on your own." On the road to purpose, if someone helps you, you help somebody else. Now, don't be lining up when I leave. Anyway, our next big break was a guy named Herb Kelleher. We just ran a political campaign against his guy running for Congress, and we won. We get a call from Herb Kelleher. I didn't know who he was. I was 28 years old. And he said, "You kicked my butt. I want you to come see me." So I drove to San Antonio when he was there, and he had 28 airplanes. And we talked for 2 hours, and finally he said, "Do you drink?" And I said, "A lot." And so he pulled out a jar of mezcal that his pilot had smuggled in from Mexico. And we drank it, ate the worm. Whew. Where's my Selma girl? I drove really slow through Selma going home. And he hired us, and 35 years later, we're still doing all the work for Southwest Airlines. And he taught me two great things: how to drink and smoke on the job. He was like the best. I introduced him to the National Hall of Fame advertising a couple of years ago. He was inducted, and I said, "I didn't know Herb drank," until one day he showed up to a meeting sober. But anyway, but he also taught us one thing, the golden rule. You treat people like you want to be treated. The next year, and some of you have heard, I get a collect call. Do you know what that is? I get a collect call from Sam Walton. A collect call. I thought it was my dad. And he said, "Oh, Roy, I like you because my dog is named Old Roy." And so I said, "Good. This is Sam Walton on the phone." He said, "I love what you're doing for Southwest. Can you come to Bentonville?" So we borrowed another $5,000, and I flew from Austin to Dallas to Fort Smith to Fayetteville, rented a car, and went through Hogeye and Tonkytown, got to Bentonville. And I had a big old briefcase with nothing in it. I was 29. And I'm sitting there, and there's Sam right there. And David Glass is right there, and I have a folding chair, and I have the briefcase in front of my knees. I'm shaking. And Sam said, "Oh, Roy, I'm glad you're here, but where's the rest of your staff?" And I was frozen, and they're all staring at me like y'all are. And finally, I kind of put my shoulders back, and I said, "Well, you know, Mr. Sam, there's an old saying in Texas, 1 riot, 1 ranger. What kind of problem you got?" It's in his book. 1 riot, 1 ranger. What kind of problem you got? He falls out of his chair, and he puts his arm around me and he says, "Oh, Roy, you're hired." 17 years. And we got Norm Brinker, God rest him, at Chili's when he had 8 stores, Charles Schwab, and all of these, the United States Air Force, God bless y'all. And we've had this great purpose ride. And real quick story before getting to Promised Land, and some of you have heard it, but I promised my wife if we ever had kids, I'd never miss one of my kids' birthdays. Well, of course you're not. Well, I'm in Austin, Texas, and we only have one client there. It's sad the people who know me the best don't hire me. But anyway, BMW, DreamWorks, PGA Tour, John Deere, you name it. They don't call up and say, hey, Roy, can you come to Munich, and is Tuesday okay? And is that one of your kids' birthdays? So my 2 daughters, didn't miss them. My son is turning 15. I get an emergency call to do this work, and I know I'm going to miss his birthday. So I asked these 2 guys to do something for my son. So Blake, could we play that video?
Shay, first time I met your dad, he wasn't much older than you are now. I want to wish you a happy 15th birthday and say I hope you look as good at 56 as he does, and I hope you're a whole lot smarter.
Shay, there's the old guy here. My kid did all right, President of the United States, and with a dad like this, you got obstacles. We all know that, but I think you're going to make it. We've heard wonderful things about you. Happy birthday.
That's pretty special. And when my daughter and I were down in Haiti with W. Bush and Clinton doing PSAs for the earthquake, it was terrible. It was my son's birthday, so they did another PSA, another thing for Shay, and I got a text immediately from both my daughters urging me to miss their birthdays. So, real quick, purpose of life. And again, I don't know this stuff, but I really studied Aristotle a lot. And basically, Aristotle said the purpose of life is where your talents and the needs of the world meet. Therein lies your purpose. Where your talents and the needs of the world meet. There's very few industries outside healthcare that have your talents and the needs of the world meet more clearly than home building. When we're at our best, we use our talents to serve the needs of the world. And if that's true, how do you find your talents? Basically, it says, I'll tell you a story. I was 8th grade. My mom was a school teacher. I was in Brownwood. And you remember cursive? I was in the 8th grade, and I turned in a paper, still have it, on Emerson, 3 pages, the blue book thing. And I got it back, and there are 8 misspelled words. Big red. On the top is a big C-. You know, C's were not celebrated at my house. Mom didn't say anything. Next year, I'm studying Emerson again with a woman named Mrs. Levacy. Now, I remembered her name. I said, Mom, I can't take the test. I'll get another C. Do the best you can. Turned it in. There weren't 8 misspelled words. There were 11. I still have it. And at the top, there's a tiny A-. And I put these 2 tests on our little kitchen table in my home. I said, Mom, I don't get it. And she said, you can't spell. But she said, Mrs. Levacy thinks you can write. So at 14 years old, my mother cut the grand bargain with me. I was 14 at my little kitchen table, and she said, I don't want you to spend another second of your life trying to be average at what you're bad at. I want you to spend the rest of your life trying to become great at what you're good at. I was doing a speech, some initiative, and I put initiative into spell check recently, and it said no suggestion. This is what we need to tell America right now. We need to go into our public schools and say standardized testing isn't the only thing we need to judge our kids on. We need to find out what their talents are and convert our school systems from teaching and testing to talent development and coaching. So this is what I want to talk to you about real quickly. I was climbing up a mountain called Mount Sopris over a year ago in Colorado. I have a second home there. And by the way, before I built our home, my wife and I, we looked at the Republic of Texas map, and I built my house in Colorado in the Republic of Texas. So I'm still a Texan. Anyway, I'm just saying. I'm climbing up a year and a half ago, and about halfway up Mount Sopris, I'd watched Apollo 13 the night before for the 100th time, when Tom Hanks said, "Houston, we have a problem." I looked around to make sure nobody was around, and I said as loud as I can, "America, we have a problem." Now stay with me. We have a marketing problem in America. All we hear is what they want us to hear. All we hear is what the political sides on all sides who are perpetuating an us versus them culture, that's all we get to hear, right? Us versus them is not the purpose of America. The purpose of America is in the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation, under God, indivisible. Us versus them is not the promise of America. The promise of America was, it didn't matter what your last name was or what zip code. If you're willing to work hard and take responsibility, everyone should have a chance to develop their full potential. Us versus them is the enemy. Us versus them is the enemy of the ideal of America, of creating a culture, high-performing, job-creating, including culture of us, as in USA. That's good, isn't it? Us. So I decided to take on America as my client. Pro bono. And we're going to market the best of America to America. Can you change a culture through advertising? Have anybody heard of Don't Mess with Texas? 1980s, I get a call from the governor, and he said, "I ran all over the state, and we litter." And I went, "Whatever." I used to throw stuff out of my dad's pickup, because my dad would say, "Throw that on the highway, son, keeps people employed." No. So we competed, Judy, with all these agencies, because the governor said, Bob Lanier was chairman of the highway department then, was a great mayor, by the way, of Houston. He said, maybe we ought to try to reduce litter. Litter was going up 17% every year. So state workers said, well, if it's going up 17%, let's spend 17% more every year to clean it up. And Bob Lanier said, has anybody thought about reducing litter? So we pitched against the agency that did Don't Pollute, Give a Hoot, and the Crying Indians. It's all awesome. And at the end, we pitched Don't Mess with Texas. And the guy in the back, one of the guys says, we like the Crying Indian stuff. And I said, I know, so does the Sierra Club. They don't litter. Billy Bob Bowtree from Brownwood, Texas, litters. Don't you mess with Texas. So we got the campaign. I'm going to play you some of the spots you'll remember. We reduced litter by 90% in 3 years with no regulation, no fines. We did it through marketing. And that's what we're going to do with America. So let's see some of this work we did. The first was Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Each year, we spend over $20 million picking up trash along our Texas highways. Messing with Texas isn't just an insult to the Lone Star State, it's a crime.
Don't mess with Texas.
Mamas, tell all your babies, don't mess with Texas. Don't let them throw cans from them old pickup trucks. Don't let them throw bottles and papers and such. Mamas, tell all your babies, don't mess with Texas. Keep your trash off the roads, and she's a fine yellow rose. Treat Texas like someone you love.
Did that in one take. This is my favorite.
They've been messing with us again. Let's ride.
Some people are such animals.
If your brother takes from you, you give to him. And if he slanders you, you sing his praises. But if he ever messes with Texas, pray for him, brother. Pray for him. Pray for him.
So, we're going to market a culture of us to America. And can it be done? Yes. I want to play one other thing. The proudest thing I think Judy and I ever did in 50 years, right after 9/11, I was in Washington. Our client was the Air Force. The Pentagon got bombed. Judy was our air traffic control trying to get us all home, and we were all saying the same thing you were saying. What can we do? What can we do? So I got on the phone and started calling directors all over the country, and I said, we need to get a PSA on the air immediately. And we were up and running 10 days later, and this PSA ran more than any other public service announcement in the history of advertising. So could we play this one, Blake, real quick?
I am an American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American. I'm an American.
I am 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 an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I
am
an American. I am an American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am America. I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
So, by the way, E pluribus unum was the first motto of the United States of America, out of many one. So here's kind of the guiding principles of the Promiseland Project. And if you want to check it out, it's called thepromiselandproject.com. We launched it March the 10th of this year. One of the three guiding principles. Number one, we got to walk in each other's shoes again. Secondly, we got to respect the dignity of all work again. Third, we got to let people know there are many other paths than a four-year college to be successful in America. So I'm going to play you a couple of these spots that we do on our website. This is sort of the anthem piece, so if we could run this, Blake, real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to make good on a promise. America's promise. To give you and all Americans who work hard and take responsibility, the opportunity to develop and live up to your full potential. But America, we have a problem. Instead of living up to America's promise, the forces of us versus them have created a massive cultural divide. We're done with us versus them. Welcome to the Promiseland Project. We believe that America must be driven by purpose, not politics. We are on a mission to find common ground on higher ground, and we've got work to do. So we are unleashing the power of purpose-driven communications to begin bridging our cultural divide. Starting with motivating a new generation of purpose-inspired public servants, not just politicians, who regard collaboration and compromise as characteristics of strength and patriotism. Encouraging all of us to get to know each other better by walking in one another's shoes and respecting the dignity of all work. Liberating our schools and students from being judged on standardized tests alone. Our children should be motivated to be exceptional, not standardized. Championing the reality that a 4-year college path is not the only path to success. Our community colleges and apprenticeship programs stand ready to train and educate people for thousands of high-skill, high-income careers. Standing tall for small businesses, small towns, small neighborhoods and urban cities, and promoting entrepreneurship because it is truly the miracle of America. This is the Promiseland Project. Where there's America, there's a way. Because where there's America, there's promise. Where there is promise, there is us. Joyous and generous, mischievous and miraculous. Where there is promise, there is us. Nervous but adventurous, boisterous and rebellious, there is us. Boundless, fearless, prosperous, e pluribus. Where there is purpose, there is us. America's promise must not be broken. We are a family tree, bent double and twisting in the destructive political winds. We shall not break, because where there is promise, there is us. We will together build a culture of us and become the best us. And when that happens, there's no stopping us. Welcome to the Promiseland Project.
By the way, how many of you have kids? Raise your hand. Would you stop asking them what they want to do? You're old as dirt and you don't know what you want to do. Ask them what they love to do. This is what America needs to do. Ask our children, if you love to do something and you're great at it, you can make a living and a life doing what you love to do. This is a message. I'm going to run for president. Y'all want to help me? I'm just kidding. I'm going to run from that. But 2 other real quick videos, because this is key to the Promised Land. Blake, let's play them real quick.
The dignity of work takes many forms. It's time to stop judging each other by the color of our collars, because white and blue are both a perfect match for the red blood we all share. No matter what your job, let's take the time to walk a mile in one another's flats, heels, wingtips, boots, and sneakers. Because when you walk in someone else's shoes, you realize we're all in this together. Success doesn't always look like a 4-year degree. Sometimes it's the look of pride in your mother's eyes when you come home from your first shift, or overhearing your son tell friends he wants to be an electrician just like you. America has plenty of great jobs and careers, and our community colleges and apprenticeships are ready to train you and me for a future of possibilities.
So, we're going to start marketing this to America, and one quick thing that we're going to really focus in on. Here in Texas, we all know our skilled workers' average age is about 58. Even before Harvey, we had 500,000 openings that we need for workers, and even after Harvey, even more. I'm all over the country talking to chambers and businesses, Lowe's, Home Depot, all these places, and everyone, when we get down to it, said there's one crisis that nobody is talking about or doing anything about, and that is we have a crisis of skilled workers. And we have a perception problem, and we have a marketing problem. If you don't go to college, you're a loser. They don't understand you can make $38,000, $48,000, $58,000 a year. So we're going to market, and I'm forming an alliance called the Skill Up America Alliance. And we're going to run a Super Bowl spot. You want to hear it? I just wrote it this morning at 4:30. Say yes. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm a little insecure. Think about this on Super Bowl. Who watches the Super Bowl? Everybody. Counselors in schools watch it. Parents watch it. They watch it with their kids. The problem is we have parents who are terrified if their kids don't go to college, and some of them should, that they're terrified they can't make a living in a life. So I want to run this spot on the Super Bowl. It only costs $3 million. Who's got $3 million? Okay, thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. You start off, it's a 60, music is pulsating with anticipation. The camera pushes in slowly as we see a silhouette from behind what looks like an athlete about to commit on signing day. The announcer says, "It's a day like no other when a recruit signs with our team. We marvel at their talent and their work ethic and eagerly await their start of their career." The camera goes and you're here seeing the hand starting to sign up on signing day. Voice comes over and says, "On March 18th, America begins building its next great team." You cut back to a wide shot, lights come up to reveal students, young people all over the country signing up at an apprenticeship, signing up at a community college, signing up in a Lowe's, signing up at a construction site. And the voice comes up and says, "Welcome to a different kind of signing day." This is good, isn't it? A day when America's top young talent signs up to Skill Up. At apprenticeships, community colleges, construction sites all over the country. When you sign up to Skill Up, you don't have to wait 4 to 6 years with a mountain of debt to make it. Then it goes on. There are many paths to success in America, but sign up to Skill Up is the fast track for young and yet seasoned Americans who are hearing the call to do not what everyone else is telling them to do, but doing what they love to do. And it ends up, Skill Up, sign up, leaps you ahead of everyone else on the road to making it, making a good living, making a great life, doing what you love to do. And the tag is Skill Up Signing Day, and the tagline says, "You can make it." You can put up that one slide, Blake, real quick. So I think the next one, yeah, that's what we're going to start. And I'm talking to people, we need to market this. And we're going to start. Secondly, and then we're going to wrap this up, is that when I did the launch of the Promiseland at South by Southwest, Matthew McConaughey surprised me and came on stage with a dart in his hand. And he said, all right. You want to walk in other people's shoes? There's a map behind you, Roy. And I look behind, there's a map of the United States. And it says, wherever I throw this dart, we're going. And we're going to walk the factories and the farms and the oil patch and the reservations and whatever. And I was hoping the dart would go to Naples. It landed in Watford City, North Dakota. We're going there in September. My daughter's been advancing it, and we're going there and we're going to walk in each other's shoes. Long term, we're going to build this performance lab. I'd like to show you what we did with the Air Force. Could we play that video? And we're going to travel the country with one about a different kind. But if we could play that video.
What are your best skills, your greatest strengths, the assets that will help define your future? For a lot of people, the future is something they're just now starting to think about, and they don't have the answers to these questions. Yet. The Air Force Performance Lab is a mobile experience designed to test and identify some of today's most in-demand skills. And from the moment people register, the assessment is on. Skills and abilities are evaluated with tech that completely immerses them in the experience. Like the Connect 2 Pull-Up Challenge, custom-designed touchscreen games, and our Oculus Rift flight simulator, complete with an actual F-35 throttle, flight stick, and rumble pack. In just over 7 months, more than 22,000 people have spent over 7,300 hours assessing their skills in the Performance Lab. And nearly 69% of visitors requested future communication, generating more than 3,000 viable leads for Air Force recruiters. Whether or not they're a fit for the Air Force, the Performance Lab gives each person the chance to see how their skills stack up against others, discover new capabilities, and explore ways these previously unknown strengths open possibilities for their future. What are you made of?
So if we'll take the next slide, we're going to build one. If we'll put the next slide up. We're going to build a Skill Up Performance Lab. And we're going all over the country. And we're going to community colleges and high school and churches. Kids can walk into this performance lab, and we need your help. Oh, I could be an electrician. Oh, I could do it. Start finding their kids' talent early in life. Do y'all like this idea? Because if we do not, we have to meet these young people where they are. And by the way, our goal, this is an 8-year project. I'm 70, I look fabulous. But anyway, it's true. 8 years from now, America celebrates its 250th birthday. In 8 years, we must reject the culture of us versus them and build a high-performing, skilled-up culture of us. And we're on a mission to do just that. Will you help us? I'm going to end with one final video because this is what purpose sounds like. A friend of mine, a huge CEO, called me up one day and said, I'm going to send this to you because I'm going to repay a favor. And I said, I haven't done anything for you. And he said, no, I used to think in black and white. You helped me think in color. So we're going to play this final video, and I'm going to close. This is what purpose sounds like. But before we do that, would y'all give a hand to the people who work backstage and make all of this stuff happen? They do an awesome job. So don't screw up this last video. So this is what, if we could, Blake, put the last video up, this is what purpose sounds like.
Heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her waiting on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. Well, she tied you to a kitchen chair, she broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from the lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Baby, there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. It's not a cry that you hear at night, it's not somebody who's seen the light, it's a call and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 And hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So I called my friend up and I said, tell me, why is this what purpose sounds like? He said, well, in any purpose-inspired organization or purpose-inspired nation, everyone needs to know the words to the song. In any purpose-inspired organization or any purpose-inspired nation, we got to listen to one another. In any purpose-inspired organization or nation, we got to stand up when it's our turn. And then he said, it really also helps to have a good song to sing. America has a great song to sing. We need to know the words to the song again. We need to listen to one another again. We need to stand up when it's our turn again. We need to cite the Pledge of Allegiance of one nation under God, indivisible again. So the Promiseland Project, all of you in this room and your associates, you build new homes for families. And homes are not houses. Houses are built of steel and wood and brick and mortar, and homes are built of trust and values and shared purpose. I think we need to build a new home for America based on shared values and shared purpose and shared trust. And I think we need to have all the new homes, and the special one in America, have a big old front porch. Tracy Lawrence, great song. If the world had a front porch like we had back then, we'd still have problems, but we'd be friends. Where we treat our neighbors as next of kin, and America would be not gone with the wind. I'd like to ask a favor. I just thought of this, and Lorraine and I talked about it. We're going to take a front porch with us all over America. We're going to build a front porch. Will y'all help me build it? Texas built. And we're going to put the front porch in the parks of all these cities that we go to, and we're going to get people to sit on the front porch again and talk. This is the promise of the Promised Land. I love y'all. I thank you for inviting me. And Godspeed, and God bless this great nation, one nation under God. Thank you.